Okay, so we're kind of getting into things now. You've had a little pep talk, received a tour of the office. You've met Rich, who you're actually going to meet again in this particular video. But what we're going to talk about right now is know thyself and how can you know yourself in your business. And this is really important. We're not getting into this, lovey-dovey kind of thing. This is important. I mean, this is where it all has to begin because, in Module 1, we're going to be diving into the indoctrination series. And I just have a question for you. What exactly are you going to be indoctrinating your new subscribers into, right? You're going to indoctrinate them into something. If you don't know what you're about, what your business is about, if you don't know what you're for, and more importantly, if you don't know what you're against, then what are you going to be indoctrinating them into? And I want to make a special point about that. What are you against thing? You hear a lot of people talking about the law of attraction, right? I want to talk to you about a different law that in this business is probably more important. It's the law of repulsion. Who are you going to repel from your list? Who is not in the club? Who are you against? Deciding who you are against is actually more important right now than deciding what you're for. Everybody's for something, but you will never develop a following. You will never build trust in your list until you can say, I am against this. This is an enemy. These are friends. These are enemies. It doesn't have to be people, right? I mean, it could be general factors in the world. So I'm not saying that you go out there and pick a fight with somebody, but you do need to be against something. You need to be for things. Now, oddly enough, this was a very new concept for us at Digital Marketer. Like a lot of businesses, this one kind of grew up organically and we kind of looked around and we're like, wow, this is great. We're making really good money. And we never stopped to ask the question, who are we? What are we about? What are we for? What are we against? And it was actually Richard Lindner, who you met in the previous video, who was the person who brought this to our attention. He said, if we're going to be serious about this, we have to decide what we're about. And one of the worst things that you can do here at Digital Marketer is to have an idea. Because if you do, I'm just going to say, that sounds great. Go do it. Go figure it out. And part of the reason that Rich is such a valuable member of this team, and really everybody here is valuable, is when I do that, he said, okay, I will. And what he created was pretty cool. He created a company profile sheet. And so it was a list of questions that we had to go down and we had to answer. And we did it together. The entire management team did it together. And we go back and we look at it and reevaluate it from time to time and says, is this still true? Do these things still matter? So that's what I want you to do next. And we're going to switch over to Rich's computer here in just a second, and he's going to walk you through the company profile sheet so that you can start filling it out for your business. Now, what does this have to do with the machine? On one hand, nothing. On the other hand, everything. When you have this done, it's going to give you clarity. It's going to make you a lot more successful, and it's going to be the lens through which you view and create your entire machine. If you skip this step, just know you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay, so don't skip it. In fact, we're not even going to move on to the next video. So right now, let's kick it over to Rich.
Hey guys, my name is Richard Lindner, and like Ryan mentioned, I am the creator of the company profile document that we use in each and every one of our companies, really from square one, from day one, from the get-go, or the launch of the company. The primary responsibility for whoever is the driver of the company at that time is to fill out this document. And there's a couple of reasons for that. But the first reason is that you need to understand the purpose of the company, and like Ryan mentioned in his other video, what it is that you stand for and what you stand against. Now, throughout this training, you're going to receive 26 or more of our tested and templated campaigns and several emails for you to deploy in your business once you've done some slight modifications and edits, some basic fill-in-the-blank type things. However, if you don't know some of the things that this sheet is going to help you identify, what you're going to end up with is really great templates with boiled chicken or watered down fill-in-the-blanks, and that won't be good for anybody. So why don't we dive right in and you let me walk you through this sheet, exactly how to fill it out, and why you should fill it out. Okay, so obviously how to fill out this first part here should be pretty self-explanatory. What is your company name? So for us, it would be Digital Marketer Company Profile. And again, question one should be somewhat answered by filling in the blank above. So what is your company name? digital marketer. Now, you may have multiple companies, or you may do business as one company as your legal entity, and then have your forward-facing or customer-facing company as something else. So more than likely, these will never change. But if they do need to, you have two different spaces there. Now, question number 2: what do you stand for? Right? What is your what are you standing up for and saying, this is what we're about? Okay, Ryan went over this in the intro to this video, and really this is important for your indoctrination series. You have to be able to stand up, and when a new subscriber joins your list, you have to tell them who you are, what you stand for, what you stand against, why they should listen to you, and set some expectations of what they're going to receive and when you will communicate with them. So give them the benefits of being your subscriber. Now, if you don't know these things, if you can't do your 3-minute elevator pitch about your company, how do you hope to indoctrinate anyone into your company or into your brand? So again, that's what this sheet is for. So question number 2: what do you stand for as a company, as an individual? It really doesn't matter, depending on what you're indoctrinating someone into. That goes here. What do you stand against, right? What are you adamantly opposed to? Now, if we're talking about digital marketer, we're adamantly opposed to research companies, right? We're adamantly opposed to people who go out and do research and do polls and put out theory and research papers and give this or pass this along or sell this to marketers as actionable content. So that's what we're against, right? We're against doing that. We're against boiled chicken, watered down, useless, unactionable content being distributed or sold to marketers. So what do you stand against? Oh, moving a little quick there. What do you stand against? So number 4 is, what is your company's purpose, which is totally different from what do you stand for and what do you stand against. This is kind of your mission statement. Okay, at Digital Marketer, our purpose is to double the gross revenue of 10,000 businesses in the next 5 years. That's our purpose, right? So this is going to help us as to every decision we make and in every bit of content that we write. Now, how much easier is it for me to talk to our prospects, our paid subscribers, or our members when we have that in mind, right? I know that I need to help them double their business in order for me to reach my purpose, right? To achieve my goals that I have set, that we as a company have set. And you have to figure this out too. All of these things are not for the sake of having a mission statement or core values. It's because you have to know who you are before you can tell someone else. Again, think of it like your elevator pitch. So that's number 4. Number 5, what is your unique selling proposition? At Digital Marketer, our unique selling proposition is we actually do this stuff. Kind of going back to what do we stand against? We actually do marketing, right? We have over 23 different businesses that we are active in promoting and marketing, and what Digital Marketer is at the end of the day is a byproduct of what we've learned in those other businesses, what we've tested, tweaked, templatized, and rolled out across multiple businesses, and we've proven successful time and time again. Now we can sell that byproduct, that information, in Digital Marketer. So our unique selling proposition is we actually do this. We're not marketers selling marketing information to other marketers that get their information from marketers. Right? We can go out and do these things and deploy these strategies in tons of different markets and really test, and that is our unique selling proposition. So what is yours? Now, who is your target customer? Again, this is important because this is the person that we're talking to. If you don't have a customer avatar, while it's not a part of your assignment and not a part of the requirement for moving past this module into the next one, I would urge you during this process, or honestly before we really get into the machine, is putting together your customer avatar, right? Naming that person. naming your customer and going into in real depth as to who they are. So right here, this is a very generic, it's this age group, it's this income, it's self-employed, maybe it's a single parent, maybe it's a parent, or working adults without children. Whoever it is, define that person right here in as few words as possible. Now, number 7, what are their biggest issues or pain points? Okay, what are they struggling with each and every day? And this will go back to why should they listen to you, right? So each and every day, what do they wake up going, oh my gosh, I'm so worried about this. If I could just fix this, life would be better. If it weren't for this, I wouldn't sit up all night, right? And that may be a little dramatic, and it may seem dramatic, but each and every one of us, me, you, everybody in the world, no matter their income level or the success that their business is having, has these issues and these pain points. I have pain points that someone could come along and speak to those, and they would get me to open up my wallet as long as they did not mess up along the way, because it would feel like they were speaking directly to me. They knew me. They were truly here to help me, and that's your job. So before we can do that, we have to identify what those pain points are. So right here, I've given you 5 spaces to list out 5 major pain points. If there's more, by all means, draw an arrow on the back of this. Write it out on there. Give yourself some more lines if you're actually typing this in. If there's less, don't fill them in, right? Less is kind of more here. If there's one big thing you're going to alleviate, or one big problem that your prospect, your target customer is having, then sometimes that's pretty good, because it makes it easier to speak to that pain point. Okay, now there may be derivatives of that kind of break into other parts that you can speak to later, but for right now, what are the biggest issues or pain points for your ideal customer? And question number 8, and this is a big one, how do you or your company solve those issues or relieve that pain? Again, remember that I'm not asking you to fill this out just for data mining, okay? I'm not going to ask you to turn this in. This is only for your benefit and for your team if you choose to share it with them. And if you have a team, I would suggest that you do share this with them. But when you're writing emails, you have to know who you're talking to, what their pain is, and how your product or service, or products or services, alleviate that pain, right? How do you help them overcome that, or overcome it for them? If you can't speak to that in this document, you're not going to be able to write it out in very succinct, short, powerful emails. Again, we're providing you the templates. You just have to fill in the blanks. But if filling in the blank goes from 8 words in the template to 3 paragraphs in your version, that's a problem. We need to really hone in on exactly how you're solving the biggest pain points or the biggest issues of your target customer. Okay, so that's what question number 8 is about. Now, question number 9, who are your top 5 competitors? We're going to need to know this for several reasons, but for right now, just go ahead and fill those out. Throughout the training, we'll actually reference some of these things. Question number 10, what is your authority site? Now, this is usually a blog. If you don't have a blog or a YouTube channel, because in some cases, some businesses, their authority site may be their YouTube channel. You may be the business or the individual that's branding around yourself that delivers all of your content via video podcast, and that's all put on YouTube. That's fine. Okay? There's nothing that says that you have to have a blog, but I'll tell you, when you get into to keeping your subscribers actively engaged or re-engaging those subscribers that haven't opened an email or clicked a link in 60 days, it's really helpful to have some home base, some flag that you have planted where you're giving away free content that further states who you are and why they should listen, and really establishes you as an expert. So I'm not saying that you have to have a blog or you have to have some place you do this. I am saying that it's going to be a whole lot more helpful down the road if you do. So if you don't have an authority site or a blog or a YouTube channel, or you don't have some place that you create and distribute content on a regular basis, just leave this blank or put NA. Now, how many unique monthly visits does this site receive? Okay, and you notice I put site, not blog, because again, if you have a YouTube channel or if you have some other authority place that you're creating and uploading content, distributing free content that is unique and original and relevant to this vertical, what is that, and how much or how many unique visits does that receive a month? And really what we want to do is track this. So what I would suggest on questions like this, and I'll point out a couple other ones, like how many unique visits does this site receive, and this is per month. So next to it, either print this out or in here in your answer if you're typing it out, write the date that you're filling it out. Because if you're like us, you're going to need to, and I'm going to suggest that you fill this out every quarter. Right? At the beginning of every quarter, you're going to revisit this and say, is this still true? Because your business will evolve, right? You may wind up serving some subset of the vertical that you're serving now, or you may expand to a broader service region or a broader area of focus than you're in right now. So it's good to review these things, but it's also nice to see growth. So if you fill this out in the third quarter and then you go back in the fourth quarter and you've deployed your machine and you've done some other things, it'll be nice to say, oh my gosh, do you realize that we're receiving an extra 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 unique visitors a month now than we were when we originally filled this out 3 months ago? Trust me, from experience, that's really cool. That's a great feeling. Okay, so when you fill this out, jot right beside it the date. Now, who is your managing editor? If you don't have a blog, who is your content? So think about this, like who is putting together your marketing calendar? Who is tying in your content with your promos? Who is scheduling out what's going to happen, what your subscribers are going to see for the next 30, 60, 90 days? If you don't have someone who is in charge of doing that right now, put your name. You are your managing editor. Number 13. How many blog posts do you write per week? Again, if you don't have a blog, if you're doing podcasts or if you're distributing some other type of content, jot that in here and go ahead and put in how often per week you are creating and distributing new original content. All right? If you're not creating new and original content, put an NA there. Okay, let's move on to question number 14. How are your posts distributed? Now, if you're not writing blog posts or creating podcasts or new content each and every week, skip this. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be a blog post like we talked about it. If it is a podcast or some other type of unique original content that you're creating and distributing each and every week, it's talking about that. But how is it distributed? Are you emailing your list once you publish it to your blog or to your YouTube channel? Are you then going and posting about it on Facebook or tweeting about it? Is that the reverse order? Do you first post it on Facebook and tweet about it, and then a couple days later, do you email your list about it? Do you do none of the above? Do you SEO it? Do you do press releases? Whatever the case may be, if you create new and original content and you post it somewhere, how do you distribute that content? How do you let your subscribers and your fans and your followers know that you have created a piece of content that's valuable and free and they should go check it out? All right, so that's how you answer number 14. Let's move on to 15. How many comments, likes, shares, etc. is an average post receiving? So again, I'm using post here, but don't get hung up on that. If you create content but it's not a blog, when I say post, that's what I'm talking about. So comments, I'm going to go ahead right now and take out blog so that there's no confusion here. It's just comments. It can be any kind of comment. So how many comments are you getting? How many likes are you getting? Shares or other? If there's some other metric of engagement that you can think of, what is it? Remember, we're using this to figure out how to, one, benchmark where you're at now, and two, figure out what is the most engaging thing that you're doing right now. So that's 15. Question 16. What are your social media properties? So let's just go ahead and fill in the URLs here. If you don't have it, just NA. But Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, and if there's another social network that you use actively that is relevant for your business, what is it? All right, that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, question 17, how many followers, subscribers, fans, etc. do you have on each of these social media properties? Again, like I said, this is going to be really powerful information to benchmark, and when you go back and you're revisiting this at the beginning of the next quarter to look at and so say, oh my gosh, do you remember when we only had 5,000 Facebook fans or 10,000 Facebook fans, or we only had 1,000 followers on Twitter or 500 subscribers to our YouTube channel? Look where we're at now. This is fun and exciting, and it's a really nice walk down memory lane when you do that. But it's just as much about benchmarking and figuring out when we're going to engage with people or indoctrinate people, where are people already engaged with you the most, right? Let's not send people to a party and say, hey, I just met you. I'm having a party in my house on Friday. You should come. If that person shows up and there's 2 other people there, it's not going to paint you in the best light. They're not going to think, oh my gosh, this guy is so popular. This girl is so influential. They're going to think, wow, what a dork, right? It's the email version of that. When you send someone to a place, you don't want to send them to your Facebook page if you only have 3 likes. But if you have 10,000 likes and people are engaged with your content there, you want to send people there because that's social proof that you're an expert in whatever you claim to be an expert in. So again, we're not just data mining here for no reason whatsoever. There's a purpose for each and everything that we're asking you to put down on this form. So go ahead and fill this out. Now, question number 18. What is your flagship product or service? All right, what do you have right now that if you could sell one thing and one thing only, what would you want your business to be known for? And go ahead and list that here. This will become important as we move into writing some of these different series or filling in the blanks in some of these templated series. Now, number 19, list any other products or services in your catalog. And don't worry, I'm not saying that you have to have this many. It's fine if you don't have any. All right? We'll fill in some of these blanks in other ways. If you have more, again, add more lines or draw a little arrow over on the back if you're manually kind of handwriting these in. Question number 20. List the top 5 JV partners or affiliate partners. Now this is important, especially if number 19 is blank. All right? You're going to build a machine in your business, whether you have a extensive catalog of products and services or not. So if not, we need to make sure that we've identified what partners are in line with who you are, right? Because one of the worst things you could do is indoctrinate people and then send your people or recommend a product to your people, to your subscribers that are now fully indoctrinated in who you are. You don't want to recommend a product or service by someone that directly contradicts what you've said. Okay? Really let that soak in. If you're indoctrinating someone and you're standing up and declaring publicly that this is what you're about, and then a product converts really well, or you've got a partner that's leaning on you to promote their product, and you do so, but that product or that person directly conflicts something that you've stood up and said, that's going to lead to unsubscribes, that's going to lead to unengaged subscribers. Right, so you don't want to do that. So it's important now that we go in and list those top 5 JV or affiliate partners and figure out, while they're a partner, are they in line with who I say I am? Right? Are they more in line than I realized? Do I need to edit what I'm about and what I'm against? Now, on to 21. What is the current size of your mailing list? If you don't have one, this should be easy. If you do, it shouldn't be that difficult either. How big is your mailing list? How many people, unique subscribers, are on that list? If you were to send an email today to every person on your list, how many unique subscribers would it be? I know a lot of people have sub lists, and as long as it's a sub list in the same vertical, include that here. If you have multiple lists, feel free to fill this out multiple times. This document should be for one company. All right? If you have multiple companies that you're building your machine for, you're going to have to fill this company profile out multiple times. So, what is the current size of your mailing list? If you were going to send a broadcast to the entire list, how many unique individuals would be on that list? Okay, this is, again, for benchmarking and something that you should just know. Now, the last two questions are very much about benchmarking engagement. What are your average 30-day average, okay? What are your average open rates? And I've kind of broken this up into content and promotional mails. So, on average, over a month, ideally the most recent month, what are your email open rates when you send out content? What are your email open rates when you send out promotions? Okay, we want to benchmark that right now. Same with clicks. What are your click-through rates when you send out content? What are your click-through rates when you send out promotions? We're going to benchmark this. We're going to deploy the machine. We're going to re-engage your inactive subscribers, and the ones that can't be re-engaged, we're going to move them to someplace else, and we're going to make sure that through cleaning up your email list, through stating who you are, that we increase these numbers. Okay, that's it. That's the company profile sheet that I need you to fill out. It's 23 questions. It is going to take you a little while. If it doesn't, if you fly through this, you either really know who you are or you've skipped a lot of stuff and you should maybe answer some questions for yourself. But I'll tell you what, if you do a good job in filling this out, this isn't good for just you. It's not great for just current employees. One of the things that I like to use this for is when new team members come on, say, this is a document that you can hand them and say, this is who we are. Because just like you should indoctrinate a new subscriber, you should definitely indoctrinate new team members, whether they're virtual or whether they're in-office team members. You need to indoctrinate them into your company. This is a great 6, 7, 10, 12, whatever it ends up being, page document that should give everything anyone needs to know about your company. And I really hope that you guys fill it out. I really hope that you take the time to answer these questions honestly, because if you do, if you put in the time now, it's going to make everything we do together over the next few weeks so much easier. Thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan for the next video.